My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured. Thanks to you. We're gonna have safe cities, finally, safe cities. Secure borders, sensible spending, basic stuff. And we're gonna take Doge to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? This one really mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
All right, I gotta say, if you hate that guy and you call him a Nazi, you obviously are just a fucking sore loser who doesn't care to hear the facts and reality of the world around you. So fuck you. That's how I want to start off today's video. All right, real quickly. Again, I keep saying that I'm not going to show Tom Lee stuff. Tom, don't sue me. But I'm going to today anyway, because I think people need a little reassurance. We've got some negativity today that seems to be coming up. I'm listening to JP Morgan analysts try and make it sound like it's a hawkish Fed meeting. Can you guys in chat tell me how hawkish the fucking Fed meeting was? Just absurdity. Anyway, on a bright note, we've got TLT up 0.8% today, so we got it finally acting as a hedge, which is good. We got the 10-year and the 2-year bonds rolling over. We got Trump and Michael Saylor with a Bitcoin announcement today at the Crypto Summit. That sounds pretty interesting. Nobody's talking about this either, but there was that whole conversation about tariffs where they were talking about Kevin Hassett, Scott Bessent, and Howard Lutnick taking calls and speaking all night to different countries about tariffs before April 2nd for countries that don't want to incur them and want to remove trade barriers. Nobody's talking about that, but that's okay. We got that edge, right? That's good. We want that. Now let's look here. I'm just going to show you one slide today, okay? But here's Tom Lee. Here's the gist of a lot of what he was saying. The Fed put us alive and well. They're gonna address things. We're removing quantitative tightening. Everything looks good. Signs of a tariff deal before April 2nd. Like I was saying, there are countries reaching out to remove these, so we're going to see positive tariff headlines here soon. He said used car prices are tanking, inflation is softening, and the technical signs for strengthen the case that the bottom is in, per Mark Newton. And again, we've got a little bit of an uptick on the inflation number, but still 1.71%. Again, compared to what we were seeing in January, close to the threes and in the threes. And then also in the mid twos in February, averaging around 1.5 in March is a good looking number. Also, in case you can't see this down in the bottom corner, we've got the 200 moving average, which has been overcome in a good way. It's hard to say that this is a bear case. This is more like Elon saluting a crowd right here. It's a much higher arm. So it's really hard to say that this is going to be something like a bear flag. It's just not, okay? It's just not. We still got CNN Fear and Greed Index sitting at 22. And again, I did start like 10 minutes early. Sorry, I got a lot going on. In case I didn't say it already, I don't even remember. I'm so out of it. I'm going to be traveling today. It's going to be a 10-hour day where I'm traveling to go pick up the Model 3 that I always dreamed of having that I'm going to be giving to my nephew. So that's going to be a fun day, but it's going to be a long day. And so we got to take off by 9. So I'm probably going to bail a little bit early today. We do have a lot of economic data today. Some good stuff that should be interesting because it's March-related data. So we've got, there's stuff coming out of Mexico. Let's see, we got aggregate demand, private spending. Inflation data out of Hong Kong was 1.4%. That is below consensus and forecast by 0.4. That's kind of interesting. And again, some Mexican data. We got PPI year over year coming out of, and month over month coming out of Canada, raw materials prices. These should be interesting too. So that's all at 7:30. But then on our side of the fence, we got the current account deficit. That's probably going to be bad. We know that. That's what we're working to fix. Initial jobless claims will be very highly watched. And then again, a bunch of Philly Fed data should be interesting too. So all the jobs data, things like prices paid, new orders, CapEx expenditures, business conditions, all of these things should be interesting. We'll see how they turn out. We'll see if they're, this data should be better than the surveys, right? Because the surveys are just complete and utter bullshit. This should hopefully be a little bit better. So we'll see how they play. It's definitely going to be a driving force behind markets today. If we get some good data, we're going up. If we get bad data, we're probably going down. Either way, though, I don't care. I think all this is short-lived. I'm very excited about where we're heading. Yeah, morning, everybody. Scott King says, let's go team. Casper Holt, how can you hate that, man? I don't know. It was 100% dovish, right? Right? The Fed meeting was 100% dovish. He walked the dove as good as he possibly fucking could. But the narrative on CNBC from a bunch of leftists is that it wasn't a dovish meeting, and it was actually the opposite of that, which is fascinating to me. It just shows the political bias and the fact that we're trying to maybe, make conversations go a certain way that they don't belong. But that's, the reporters, I think Geiger Capital said this yesterday. The reporters in that meeting just look sad, and every one of them were trying to get Powell to say something negative about the economy. Every one of them. And they just couldn't do it. And it just broke their little hearts. You could just tell they were dismayed. Chicken Genius said QT practically ended. The last time QT ended, we got one last pump, ETH BTC bottom. 3 small caps dominate. I do 100% agree with number 3. Small caps dominate in this environment. We actually saw them lead yesterday. They beat the S&P and the NASDAQ up 1.57%. So they got the biggest bounce of them all. Real quickly here, bar chart. Eggs going to zero. Are eggs going to zero, guys? They're $3 right now where they were over $8. So we're seeing a precipitous drop. Again, another sign that maybe inflation isn't too bad. When Jerome Powell was asked if we need a recession to get inflation down, he said, I don't think this is anything like the 70s. The hard data about the real economy is reasonably in good shape. That was his way of saying, no, we don't. And you know what's crazy? You know what's absolutely fucking crazy? Is when you have U.S. Oil and Gas Association. The Oil and Gas Association. Listen to this. And I've got this in the wrong bookmark, but we're going to talk about it. They said, I never thought we would find ourselves needing to defend our leading technological competitor, but here goes. We remind the governor, Tim Walz, of his position on EVs, by extension Tesla, before he was beaten like a rented mule last November during the election. And essentially saying, hey, you used to be all about EVs and that was what we needed to do and all this other stuff. Now you're shitting on the leading EV company in the United States. This is coming from the Oil and Gas Association of the United States of America. Somebody who has the opposite vested interest of posting this. And they're like, fuck this guy. Quit shitting on Tesla. I just find that amazing. The bond volatility index, which is known as the MOVE, I said it's dropping. I said that'll help TLT and equities. Let's check on it today. So yesterday we were at 96.67. Today we're at 91.39. So bond volatility is falling through the floor. And at this little red line that I put in here, it looks like we're collapsing and going to test lower. The measured move actually for this head and shoulders pattern, I can't even probably use it. It's pretty broken. I do think, though, that we're going to get down to the 79 range, the 77s. I think we'll be dropping back into that. And that's a good sign. If you go back and look at the bond volatility index, you look at these major peaks that we had. December of 2008, the peak marked the bottom of markets. If you go over here to the pandemic, the peak which occurred in April, right around April of 2020, marked the absolute bottom of the stock market. And then over here, we have the peak. It says March of 2023. I believe this was peak Silicon Valley Bank. You guys keep me honest. Remind me. Sometimes the dates get fuzzy because I look at so many of them. But I think this was peak Silicon Valley Bank and all the banks failing, which is why we had bond volatility this high. And it has slowly been coming down. Again, the highest baseline we've seen since the 2008 Great Financial Crisis. But again, same thesis. When bond volatility is coming down, markets are going up. So I'm still feeling really positive about all that. We got a little bit of an uptick on the VIX today, but guys, it's still just way lower than it was. Let's look over here real quick. So, and again, this trend, these are usually multi-year trends. Sometimes you get spikes up that disrupt, like we had one here recently right over here. But when you have and this is like I've said this before, this is the biggest wick ever on the monthly time frame. Where again, there's the thicker body of the candle, and then there's the wick, just this thin little line. That is such an impulse down. It's fucking insane. And what happens with this? We can have years of positive price action in equities after you've had extreme moments of volatility. And I think everybody's looking for the end of the world here with these tariffs, and I think they're not going to find it. I think they're going to end up finding the opposite. And so I think all that's good. Yeah, and I just showed that over here again, too, with the VIX. And then let's see here. Yeah. So Geiger Capital, the reporters literally sounded angry. They want Powell to say that Trump's tariffs are damaging the economy and will cause inflation to skyrocket again. He said nothing like that. And we're still at 22 for the extreme fear. If we look over here, let's just see how long we've been there. This is a nice bottoming pattern. If we go back and look here, look at how wide this is and how low it is. Really? I mean, that's even over here. Yeah, we're about at the length right here, guys, of what we had when we bottomed in November of 2022, or actually in October of 2022. So again, years ago, and when we really saw the bottom, especially in tech, again, 75, 90% down some of these companies, we're establishing that time frame down here. And so the next action is up. The longest one we had was over here, guys, where we dropped September 2022 of 2023, and then we stayed down there till about October of 2025. So you're looking at a month as being the worst for being down here for some of these time frames, unless you go back again into 2022, which was just an abysmal time frame. Some people think we're headed there. I see no signs of that whatsoever in any part of the economy. Let me get caught up with chat a little bit too here. You're the man. I watch you every morning before work. Love and appreciate what you do. Thank you, Preselto. Secret Truth, absolutely dovish. Anthony says, Jesse, thinking of selling 30% of my minor position to get MSTU. What do you think? Is that Clean Spark? I don't know. Diversification never hurts. Again, there's a reason why I'm in MSTR via MSTU and MSTX. I only sold 25,000 of that yesterday. I'm going to be patient. But there's a reason I'm in that. There's a reason I'm in Mara. There's a reason I'm in Clean Spark. There's a reason I'm in Iron. And then again, in Tesla and TLT and ARCG, and there's a reason I diversify with asymmetric bets, because if one of them does really good, then it offsets problems with any of the others. I laughed at the 70s reference. Yeah, people, it's just insane that some people think that we're there, which is crazy. People don't understand how much cheap energy affects the economy. Yes, and we're going to see more of that. There's so many positive things happening. That's why I played that video at the beginning of the stream. Eric Williams, thoughts on Tesla recall on Cybertruck on news today? I haven't even heard about it. I don't even care. I mean, there's every vehicle that they produce has recalls. What was it? How many vehicles did it affect? And again, companies like GM are good. You said good morning, but GM, Ford, all these others, they have physical recalls all the time. The Cybertruck it's only a year old. So it's not like that many cars. It's not like there's going to be 4 million cars affected. It's not like it matters. It's almost always a software update. Like 90% of the time, it's a software update. about trim needing to be replaced. Oh, it's probably the side upper around the windows. I haven't had any problems with mine. But if it breaks, I'll get it replaced, just like all these people. I don't think people, I mean, you got an 8-year, 150,000 mile warranty. So does anybody really give a shit? If the trim falls off, you take it and they fix it. So I don't care about that at all. Honestly, I don't think that matters. The Trump effect. Ooh, what is this? NVIDIA to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on U.S. manufacturing. Is this new, or is this that same comment from yesterday? Let me just pull this over real quick. Oh, I can't do that. One sec. Here, I just reposted it, so I'll pull it up over here. 46,000 vehicles. Yeah, that's nothing. And that if it's the trim part around the windows, that's like one sheet and some glue. I don't think that matters at all. No doubt the best market open. Thank you, BGZ. All right, let's look over here. I posted this sec. Is this new or is this old? Trump met with NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang as the U.S. moves to tighten AI chip export restrictions. Washington aims to keep advanced computing power within the U.S. and allied nations while blocking China's access to cutting-edge semiconductors. No further details on the meeting, but NVIDIA is at the center of America's AI dominance. So, I don't know. That seems kind of like, what is that? What is that? Show me a good meeting. All right. So I don't know totally what this is. The other one had a headline about spending. Oh, yeah. The Trump effect, NVIDIA to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on U.S. manufacturing. Okay. It didn't really say that in the post, but maybe I was looking at the one down here. Oh, I did. I think I went into the wrong one. And just confirmed the company will pour several $100 billion into the U.S. over the next 4 years. So now we're up to like, what is it, $2 trillion and dedicated funds that people have promised to put into the U.S. economy. And we had a Canadian company coming in. Yeah, I think we're not doing as bad as some people want to believe. Let's keep going down, though. Powell, Zero Hedge posted Fed staff forecasts assume full tariff retaliation. So again, the forecast that the Fed put in there, let's just go back here real quick for yesterday. Let's see, recent, this week. So again, this is important. There's a reason I'm highlighting this. So yesterday, these interest rate projections where they show lower, like 0.5% lower for the 1 year forecast projection, 0.3% lower for the 2 year, 0.5% for the current, and then flat for the longer term projection at 3%, which is kind of going to be their new rate anyway, is fascinating because this includes full tariff retaliation. It's the worst case scenario, and the projections are fucking lower. I don't know why people can't see how this is interesting. My buddy Peru, I actually really like this guy. He said CTA is now net short U.S. equities. Goldman Sachs expects $45 billion in buying, plus 2 sigma, 1 month rally. Time for a base ripper. I think I talked about that briefly yesterday, but that's coming. Let's see. Nick said the Fed slowed down QT last year in order to let the process run for longer. Officials are considering another tweak. Oh, that was before. I don't know. I might not have refreshed here, so I'm missing some stuff. But all I'm saying is everything from a technical aspect, from a fundamental aspect, everything looks good. We'll see how the data comes in here in 22 minutes. But we are set up for what I believe to be a face ripper where we just fuck the shorts. We'll see if that ends up happening. We got Tesla down 1.13. I heard people all of a sudden saying, and even some of these guys that I like Infra, some of these people that are more bearish and that I pull statistics from every once in a while, they're like, oh, the whole rally's been wiped out. And then it's like, I think, maybe don't worry about that. I don't know if the whole rally has been wiped out. I think things are going to be just fine. All right, let's go over here. I want to go to the Trump side of things because, again, we got all these lawyers trying to do a bunch of bullshit. It looks like we're working on ways to correct that. I do want to talk about the appallingness of it, though. I want to let Stephen Miller speak to this because if you think about what the Democrats are doing right now with their liberal judges, it's actually incredibly appalling. But let's listen to his words because I think he's very eloquent on this subject matter. He's thought about it for a very, very long time.
Of course the president stands by his comments, absolutely, as do we all, as does the entire administration. You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes the agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president's been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitutional system. Last question.
I 100% agree with this. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that one federal judge can literally, and especially when it deals with with the executive branch where they're laying off people, and it's under the jurisdiction of the president, and they can be like, nope, not going to do it. You can't do that anymore. And there's 700 of these judges, and any one of them can make a statement like that and all of a sudden halt whatever the president of the United States is doing. Complete and utter bullshit. And it will get remedied really quickly. Also, you want to see some more bullshit? Look at this dude right here running in this woman's race. A male student just set a season record after winning the girls' 400-meter varsity race at the Portland Interscholastic League in Oregon. Defund immediately. This must stop. Look at this. You don't even see the fucking girls. This is utter bullshit. This is utter bullshit. This isn't fair to women. And I'm sorry if a bunch of transgender people that have body dysmorphia believe that they should be able to dominate women so that they can feel more like one. I don't even know what the fuck that means. But this is fucking disgusting. This person is almost twice the size of these fucking girls and dominating them and destroying their records. And why would women even want to participate in sports anymore if somebody who was born a physical man can literally just beat them all the time in anything that they do? I'm sorry, for my own daughter's sake, I'm going to call out this bullshit. All right, Mario Knopfel, Meta considering Dexit sparks panic in Delaware. Yes, Meta is considering leaving Delaware and moving to Texas. They're fucked. 20% of the income for the state of Delaware comes from these incorporations, and they're losing it all. Isn't that amazing? You have activist judges that make stupid fucking decisions that violate the law. And then companies are like, we shouldn't be here. I wonder why. Welcome. You created this bed. Now fucking lie in it. Speaking of Democratic corruption, we've got Amy Bach, the mastermind behind Feeding Our Future, has been found guilty on all counts. Their NGO stole over $250 million from taxpayers, the largest pandemic fraud scheme in the country, all made possible by the incompetence of Governor Tim Walz's administration. $250 million. Thank you for all you do, Governor Walz, for the state of Minnesota. Elon Musk, for more than 2 centuries, there has never been such extreme abuse of the legal system by activists pretending to be judges. Impeach them. You got to remember, Nayib Bukele literally said that we have judges trying to overthrow our government in the United States. He had that same problem, and he fixed it. We need to do the same thing within every inch of the law. Libs of TikTok, by the way, Libs of TikTok has somebody that's threatening to murder them, that says they don't care about life anymore, and they're going to murder them. So this is the kind of stuff that influencers that speak the truth like myself have to deal with. Getting swatted and having people literally say they're going to murder you. But nonetheless, he's still posting. 26 attorney generals just filed a brief supporting the immediate deportation of violent Tren de Aragua gang members. Meanwhile, Democrats are crying that foreign terrorists are getting deported. I voted for deporting criminals and terrorists. Yes, terrorists. Yes, sir. Agreed. Furniture maker dumps Canada, moves to North Carolina. You're going to see more of this. Prepack is shutting down its Canadian operations, leaving 170 workers jobless while shifting all production to North Carolina. The company says it's about logistics, but the union isn't buying it. Unifor blames tariffs and Trump's trade war, calling the move pure greed and pushing for a boycott. Meanwhile, Prepack insists the decision was made long before tariff concerns. You're going to see a bunch of companies leaving other countries and or building facilities in the United States. This is how it's going to work. Again, speaking about democratic corruption, Liz Churchill posted, India has raided the George Soros Open Society Foundation offices in Karnataka. So this was 17 hours ago. So George Soros's fingers in India are starting to disappear. And speaking of stupid things that liberals believe in, here is Zoran Mamdani. He's a mayor who wants to lower prices by making stores owned by the government. This will cause food shortages, and it's just insanity. And it'll make all the private stores leave the city.
Grocery prices are out of control. The cost of eggs and milk has skyrocketed. Some stores are even using dynamic pricing, jacking up the cost over the course of a day.
Dynamic pricing.
Can get away with. It doesn't need to be this way. I'm Zohran Mamdani, and as mayor, I will create a network of city-owned grocery stores. It's like a public option for produce. We will redirect city.
Yeah, we'll redirect city funds to subsidize the goods that you're buying, to make it cheaper, and make all the private businesses uncompetitive so that they leave, so that the only place you can get this from is a government store to where your options are limited and you can't find anything that you actually want and you're in fucking bread lines every day. It's going to work great. They did it in Russia. They did it during the times of Mao. They've done it in Cuba. And now we're bringing it to you today in this stupid fucking city that this guy wants to be the mayor of. I mean, what the fuck? What? Have these guys ever taken an economics course? Why do people think that socialism and communism are always the way? I don't get it at all. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, farmers markets, right? But no, this is going to be controlled by the government, which means they'll be able to subsidize the cost and then drive out all the competition. And then they'll be the ones solely the sole supplier of the food. And then there'll be more needs and demand for that food because there won't be any other options. And then you have food lines and food shortages because the government can't pay for the ever-growing costs of the subsidy that they're providing to lower the prices. Price controls don't work. Free markets do. The world has proven this over and over again since we started trading with the most basic currencies 1,000 years ago. Nick Sorter, breaking. A Doge official is taking leadership role at U.S. aid after an activist judge attempted to force Elon Musk and Doge to reinstate the agency. Elon and Trump are playing chess and the activists are just playing checkers. Essentially saying like, hey, they can order these things for whatever reasons. We'll just adjust and then keep moving forward. The U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, showed us a picture of an Iran-backed Houthi one-way attack drone, probably going after Israel or going after some U.S. system. They used a laser-guided 2.75 rocket to take this bitch out. Poof. We're going to keep doing that. We're going to level the Houthis. The Houthis are shit. We're going to level them. Rod D. Martin, huge showdown. We got about 11 minutes, too, guys, before the data. Huge showdown coming Friday. Could see contempt charges if the Department of Justice doesn't cave. Remember, this judge has been a part of a lawfare against Trump every step of the way, even as a FISA judge authorizing spying against the 2016 campaign, Watergate. So Trump is saying, hey, guys, this is worse than Watergate. This is going all the way back to that time frame. Again, I think we're going to see some massive punishment for some of these judges. Also, yesterday, Trump fired 2 Democratic FTC commissioners. So we're clearing out the trash from all these agencies, and I think it's wonderful. And this is amazing, too. You got a liberal writing for The Hill who said, sadly, Trump is right on Ukraine. David Sachs put, this is an extraordinary piece in The Hill. The truth is finally coming out about the Ukraine war. The author explains why Trump is right about Ukraine. The war was completely unnecessary. Biden and Zelensky played significant roles in provoking and escalating it, and Western media has continuously lied about it. And so it just talks about all the details associated with it, and this person doesn't want this to be true, but it is. Scott Jennings, one of my favorite guys, like the only person to listen to on CNN, probably going to be a governor soon, says it's without question domestic terrorism. When Democrats lose elections, they lose their minds. Let's listen to this real quickly here.
The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure were Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson. The other night,
he's 100% right. TLT hitting 92. Yeah, let's look at that real quick. So TLT is finally paying off. Wish I wouldn't have sold so much of it, but whatever. It's all good. It's all good. I'll take all the gains I get from everything. But we're up almost 1% in TLT terms. I mean, that could give us 5 to 10%, maybe even more on the options contracts today, and it's getting us closer to that breakout zone. I see TLT being a direct benefactor, and just the conversations that Scott Besson has been having, talking about, again, the supplementary leverage ratio for banking and getting it to where they're able to drop they're able to drop the current rate or yield by 30 bips to 70 bips, basically 50 bips, just with that change, without the Fed intervening at all. And then the Fed's playing dovish too on top of that. So I think, watching the yields come down by 1% on the 2 and the 10, I think that's just very, very possible. And that's gonna directly benefit TLT, and maybe that gives us an opportunity to buy other stuff. If we get a drop, if this thing goes up, again, if we get some kind of move, if we get some kind of like look right here. So this right here. So in a period of 2 months roughly, we went up 22% right here, and in November of 2023, and then over here. October of 2022, it took a little longer on this one to get up there, but really, it was about 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months, we went up 20%. If TLT does that again from where it's at right now, that kind of move would give you 200% on TLT. I don't know about you, but that would make me almost $1 million in profit. And then that money can be used to invest in other things. So even if we have a down market, I'm just going to keep buying the dip. That's my thing. So, and it's gonna be fun along the way. As long as you have money, buying the dip becomes like a cathartic thing that makes you happy. All right, let's keep going here. So we got about 7 minutes now. Let's see. Is there anything else I really want to touch in here? I do like this. I like Florida Governor Ron DeSantis sticking up for Trump. He calls on Congress to strip the jurisdiction of federal judges to decide the cases dictating Trump's executive policies. The sabotaging of Trump's agenda by resistant judges was predictable. Again, it's not conservative judges doing this. It's all liberal judges, and they're just literally fighting every single thing as if it's illegal, even though there's, again, perfectly legal stances and arguments for everything that he's doing. In cases, some that go back to the 1800s and shit. So it's nuts. It's nuts that they're doing this, but it's good that the Republican Party and, saner minds are sticking together. And I love that they're working on Doge too. I think that's going to come up all across the country, and it's going to be a good thing. Let's see here. We got, and also I got to say real quickly, geopolitical front, I wanted to cover one thing for sure. The European Union imports $1 billion in Russian liquefied natural gas for the first time in 2 years. So Europe is quietly starting to go, okay, we're going to have to start doing business with Russia again because we're going to be doing the same. It's funny how that works. It's really funny how that works. There's other stuff on the geopolitical front, but we'll probably skip it. Let's go over here and talk Bitcoins. The way to get the activist judges out, in my opinion, is to investigate family, NGO, governmental graft connections, indict, convict, and imprison. If that's what we have to do, if we literally have to find the corruption and then enforce the law to put these people in jail or prison because of the fact that, they're performing illegal actions. If that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do. Let's make a point. Let's do the same thing that we're doing with these people that are firebombing Tesla dealerships. Let's give them 20 years in prison and see if other people are willing to lose their life for 20 years in order to be able to accomplish whatever they think they're accomplishing. I think they're doing the exact opposite. I did want to show this, though, on the Bitcoin front. The Wolf of all streets, either Ethereum bounces here and is a generational bottom, or it's over. So again, this is a dangerous place. The ETH BTC ratio is in a dangerous place right now for Ethereum. It looks like it's going to break even lower. I don't know. I think I'm not interested in Ethereum. I don't own it. My views on that shifted dramatically over the last several years. I was a really big proponent for a while, an advocate for it, but that's gone. Bitcoin news. It's been over a year since whales on Bitfinex have been buying this long on BTC. So this is fascinating. This is a lot of buying. And again, they're making, these are like perpetual longs. And so they're making bets at all different kinds of ranges. You can see they got down to like the 47s over here. Now they're climbing and climbing and climbing. So it's getting interesting. It's changing very quickly. Bitcoin Magazine, President Trump and Michael Saylor to speak today at the crypto conference. I don't know. Do you guys know what the time is on that? Can somebody look that up? Very interested to see where we're going to be with that. John Kirby says, sometimes I can't watch this live, but I never miss a stream ever. Dude, that's awesome. I appreciate you, brother. Okay, so this is just more about that. Just in, BlackRock's head of digital assets says Bitcoin's institutional adoption isn't reflected in the price. The new marketing team is here. This is BlackRock.
For more, we're bringing in Robbie Mitchnick, global head of digital assets at BlackRock, which of course has the biggest ETF.
This is good. Essentially, he says the same thing in multiple ways. It's 8 minutes, though, so I'm probably not going to go through all of it. This is a good one, though. This is short. So this is Bo Hines on Bitcoin. He's essentially like a part of this whole, Bitcoin crypto push for the president. And listen to what he has to say about what the government's going to try and do with Bitcoin.
Well, we delivered on the president's promises that he made on the campaign trail. The president was adamant about creating the SBR. We wanted to make sure that we did it right in a way that respected Bitcoin for being so unique, and also gave credence to innovation in other spaces of the digital asset world. So, for us here, we look at Bitcoin, it's not a security, it's a commodity.
940.
It has intrinsic stored value that's traditionally accepted. It has, as David likes to describe, the immaculate conception. There's no issuer. And that's why, as you saw in the executive order, we compared this to digital gold. It's something that's imperative for the United States to have, retain, continue to build on. And I think that's worth pointing out that the way that this is constructed, we talked about ways of acquiring more Bitcoin in budget-neutral ways that won't cost the taxpayer a dime. And what I like to say about this president, I think it's high time that our president started accumulating assets for the American people, which is what President Trump is doing, rather than taking it away. And I think that's one thing that we really wanted to make clear in this executive order. And we're looking forward to working with our partners at Treasury and the Secretary of Commerce in order to find those budget neutral ways in which we can acquire more. I've been asked all the time, it's like, how much do you want? I said, well, that's like asking a country, how much gold do you want, right? I mean, as much as we can get.
So if you don't see the signal in what Bo is talking about, they want as much as they can get. It's a big deal. This is a book actually that I've ordered. I want to check it out. It's from Vijay, but when Lynn recommends it, I become interested, even though I don't agree with all of her views. She had a lot of hate for Elon Musk, but, and we've got 1 minute. I better jump over to it, but I'm going to order, I'm in the process of ordering this book, Principles of Bitcoin, because I've heard it's really good from a lot of different people. If you guys want to check it out, you should too. Let's get over here and see what we have for economic data. See where we're at. I'm kind of monitoring things here. Bitcoin's at 85.4 before the bell here. I'm just going to switch this to today so it's easier to refresh. It's all coming out at once. Just so much data. So much data. Ooh. Lynn's woke. That's true. Did you guys see that Jack Dorsey said he loves Tesla? Did you guys see that? And then Elon gave him a heart back. I think that's fucking great, man. The guy who used to own Twitter, who kind of lost it to a bunch of activist assholes, who is, again, more liberal in nature, sticking up for Tesla. It's one of the only voices I've heard from the left. So I was very proud of him. I like Jack Dorsey. I don't care what people say. All right, here we go. Waiting on the data. All right, I'm going to refresh real quick here. Oh, I guess we got 20 minutes or 20 seconds. So we'll just let it keep rolling. Oh, it's going to be a big one. So we're at 85,340 right now on Bitcoin. So if we trace just a little bit, just kind of meandering right at this level. 85,340. Where is Zuck and Bezos sticking up for Tesla? Right? They should be. Canadian raw materials. All right, let's see. Oh, we got PPI out of Canada. Comes in slightly lower than expected for month over month, or slightly higher on month over month, lower on year over year. Raw materials prices year over year, 9 point. So their raw material prices are lower than expected. Current account deficit wasn't as bad as expected in the United States. Jobless claims don't look crazy. They're underneath consensus and forecast. Philly Fed manufacturing index 12.5 versus 8.5 and 11, stronger than expected. Continuing jobless claims, well within line. 4-week average, well within line. Philly Fed business conditions, 5.6. Those are lower, significantly lower than the previous. CapEx is great. We'll look at that closer. Fed employment data is amazing. New orders is worse than previous, and Philly Fed prices paid came in a little bit hotter. Let's look at prices paid first. So let's just look at what we're looking here. So their prices paid is curling up. That's probably going to be. I think that might be one of the things people are focused on today. We'll see. This is a steep ramp in these prices paid. Let's see here though. But they're probably. I mean, that's kind of to be expected at the beginning of a tariff war too. Because people are going to be ordering ahead of time, and they're going to be basically increasing demand over the short term and then slowing down after that. So I think this is normal. Let's just keep going through here, though. New orders. So new orders, we're still seeing a trend up. I still like the general trend. It would need a significant decline for me to feel differently about that. Employment data. This is good because, again, so let's read this real quick. Philly Fed employment in the United States, 19.7 points in March, averaged. They don't really go into a good breakdown. But this is good. I mean, this is, again, a very high level. 19.7, this is the highest level we've seen in Philly Fed employment data since August, September of 2022. So, again, 2023, 2024, into 2025, about 27, 8 months, maybe almost 30, where since we've seen data this good on the Philly Fed for the employment. And employment, more hiring is usually a pretty good sign of what's to come. CapEx, let's see here. What are we looking at for CapEx? So we're still down here. So we had a wicked high number in January. And then we dropped lower. And now we're kind of grinding here again. But still, if you look at where we were in December of 2023, this pattern still looks incredibly positive, in my opinion. So I still think that one's good. Business conditions, let's look at this. This is falling off a cliff, but I think this is normal. People are scared. March 2025, we're way down here after going up and up and up and up. Let's look at the bigger graph. But I think this is okay. What are other comparable timeframes? 2011, all of 2008 near the bottom. So again, we had a massive thrust up, and then everybody all of a sudden is incredibly bearish on the business conditions. And let's read how this is gauged though. Is based on the Business Outlook survey of manufacturers. So again, this is all survey-driven stuff. I don't care about it, so we'll ignore that for now. The jobless claims, I think, is the real deal. The fact that these aren't blowing up is a big deal. Let's look at the manufacturing index. So instead of survey bullshit, let's look at this real quick here. And it is still in the positive after years almost constantly in the red. Since December of 2024, we've been in the positive, and we're averaging probably 30 or 25, which is just so much better. So I can't be bearish on the Philly Fed manufacturing index either. Current account deficit, and then we'll look here and hear what Rick Santelli has to say. So this is again, we ticked up. It barely shows. Let's see, is that the updated version too? So they expected 325 and 340, negative 325 and 340. They didn't get that. So again, they expected this to be like down here, and they didn't get it. It actually started to roll up and tick over. This is good. We want to lower our account deficit. So that's good. So again, I just want to go back. PPI year over year in Canada. Let's look at that. So this is producer prices. So this is ticking up a little bit there. But Canada's going to have a lot of problems, I think. Raw material prices, though. Let's look at this. Raw material prices rolled over just a little bit. And they expected those to be a lot higher, and they're not. So I don't know. To me, this is still pretty good. To me, this is still pretty good. Let's see here. Let's go over and see what Rick has to say. Do I have him up here? I do not. Let's just bring him up. 1 second here. I'm going to go back. I want to hear if there's any revisions or anything that I'm missing. All right, let's see here. Rick. Here we go.
We only got 10 seconds before we get to initial jobless claims. Rick Santelli is standing by at the CME.
So Tesla was down 1.5%. It's down 1% now. TLT is still up 0.82%, so it's fallen a little bit. I don't know. If anything, this is looking bouncy. It looks like another update. Palantir's up in after hours. NVIDIA's up in after hours. Yeah, I don't know.
Rick, we got the numbers, please.
I think we're going to bounce.
Yes, well, let's see. We're expecting claims. This is for the initial claims the week of March 15th, and continuing claims, of course, a week in arrears. March
I think people
8th,
care about the jobs data.
224,000 expected on initial. Darn close, 223,000, which means
Tesla's only down 0.75 now.
It's up 2,000 from a very slightly revised 221,000. We continue to be so well behaved. We haven't been above 250,000 since the first week in October.
And this is good stuff, guys. You don't want jobless claims to start going high, especially initial jobless claims, because that's like the front door for concerns when everybody starts going to the unemployment office.
Course of last year. Continuing claims nudging a bit closer to 1.9 million, but close to expectations. 1,892,000 rearview mirror. We degraded last week a bit.
I actually want to go back because I didn't really look at the graphs on those. So let's look at initial jobless claims real quick. So it's just well within line. Nothing scary. It's not like in October 2024 or these time frames over here in 2023. And even then, I think that's about when the market started to take a breather. But look at the 5 year. Compare this to COVID, and let's go back to Max here. So if you look at jobless claims over here, look at this: 311, 300,000, 300,000. Even before here, it was around in the 200s before the pandemic. We were in the 240s, 200s, all this stuff. Now we're sitting in the low 200s. This is nowhere near abnormal at all.
From 1,870,000 to 1,859,000. The key there is last time we had a reading at 1.9 million. Well, it was January, second week of January of this year. Now, if you go back to last time that happened, of course, you're all the way back to November of 2021. Philly Fed is out. I always like to pay attention to that. The business outlook expected to be a positive number, and it is. Comes in at 12.5. Last month was 18, to give you a sequential notion of how it's doing there. The last negative number was Dece of last year, the last month of 24, when it was minus 11. And finally, we're looking at current account balance. It was started in 1960. The current read is minus 303.9 billion. In the rearview mirror, minus 310.3 billion was the biggest current account deficit ever, going back to 1960 pre-COVID. The biggest number we had was minus 218 billion, and that was in 2006. John. We see that interest rates have moved down since the Fed meeting. 394 right now in a 2-year. That makes it down 4 basis points. And keep in mind, these are the lowest intraday yields in a 2-year for exactly 1 week. 1 week ago, Thursday, March 13th. If you look at a 10-year, Joe, it's at 419. That's minus 5. These are the lowest intraday yields since a week ago, Tuesday, which would have put it at March 11th. Everybody debating why rates are down. I I heard Guy Adami, one of my favorites, talk about balance sheet runoff being the spigot turned off a bit. Hey, anything's possible. We never get a memo on these things. My own notion is, let's see, less growth, less inflation, abilities to bring it back down to 2%. We have less pretty much of everything going on within the U.S. economy, and I think that is the main notion going on. So we want to watch how the yield curve moves to give us more hints. I think the real key here is to watch a 2-year and to see how close it stays to 4%. Back to you.
What else besides the 2-year would let us know?
I just want to. The 2-year is interesting, sure, but the 10-year is what's dropping, and it's dropping underneath the 200 moving average on the monthly time scale. And again, we've got the bearish divergence, guys, that we've got going back to October of 2022, right? So if we look at the monthly time frame, and again, I just kind of draw this out simply, but it looks more like this. But we've got this bearish divergence that's been going back since October of 2022, and this thing looks ready to roll over, rising, broadening wedge or megaphone pattern, and it's back under the 200 moving average. I think we're going to test that back down to the 3.7, 3.8 range. Yields have topped. It's over. I am not looking to sell TLT quickly. I am, John, going to buy probably $25,000 worth of TSLL this morning, get myself closer to $200,000 in that. I was hoping that Tesla would drop more, so I still hope it does. I don't know. I don't think it's realistic that it will, though. I think it's found the bottom, but I do hope that it does. I still would like to see it drop another 20% or more if it could. But I don't think it's going to, unfortunately. But this is exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity. Tesla is down right now about 0.84%. Looks like, I don't know. The market looks like it's going to be bouncy today. It looks like ARKG's down 1% in pre-market, so that's down a little bit. Carvana's up. Interesting. That might be a company I short in the future. We'll have to see.
Know the fate of the economy, because we just had someone on talk about how great, how many indicators in the economy are still really positive. The JP Morgan guy who's in that business with fixed income, Rick.
That same guy also was saying that it was a hawkish Fed meeting. So take it for what it's worth, guys.
Well, here's the issue I have, Joe. It's really hard to discern the organic side of the economy from the bought and paid for last administration overspending side of the economy. The latter, I think, is running out, and some of the policies of the current administration might try to even claw back some of the unspent money. But there is organic growth underneath there, and I always try to pay attention to the priming, okay? We primed the economy for years with over money. We bought a solid economy, okay? But some of that priming is going to have more of a lasting effect. My issue right now is the current administration, I heard a guest say this, what he's doing, what the Trump administration doing, I think long term is good, okay? But in the short term, it's going to create conditions where voters wanted this, but they might not have the stomach for this in the time frame it takes to actually tackle some of these debt, deficit, and inflation problems. And therein lies the rub for investors.
All right, Rick,
We're very much going to address all those issues. Hey, Jesse, your take on possible effects of Friday's OpEx. Not sure what you mean by the question. Maybe you could just flesh it out a little bit more.
Get your buddy to weigh in here. Steve Leisman joins us now with more. If we truly are stagflating at some point, and that word's coming back, Steve, why would rates be falling if we're flating still?
Definitely account for taxes.
Well, the market seems to be less worried about the inflation side of things. That could be Fed credibility here. You know, there's a debate about what Powell said yesterday, and was he too dovish? But he also emphasized the uncertainty.
Whatever. These guys want to be bearish. They're all liberal. I don't care. Main stage news. Got married last year. My wife has a 7% 30-year mortgage. We want to refinance. But thinking about waiting until winter of 2025 makes sense. Does that make sense to you? You can always refinance again. You get extra fees with it, but you can also still lower your monthly payments. I never look to pay off my mortgage early or loans where you get good rates. That's obviously not a great rate. But yeah, you could, I would wait probably a little bit, because we're going to see rates probably coming down a lot in the next month or two. So I would maybe wait. The 10-year is going to be under 4%. I think we could see the low 6s to 5s. I wouldn't personally refinance from a 7% rate. until you can get something at least under 6, right? Like you want to be at least in the 5s. You can always refinance against later. Just make sure you watch the fees that they're associating with it, and that they're not too crazy. But I would at least wait until the 5s. I wouldn't touch it before that personally myself. But again, not financial advice, just some dude on the internet. Rambler, oh, no, that was you. Berto, how about shorting companies with large government contract exposure like Booz Allen? Yeah, that's actually a really interesting. What's the ticker for Booz Allen? That was one that they talked about. Scott Bessent talked with Chamath and David Friedberg about, because they weren't going to mention the company, right? But then he said, well, it was public knowledge. But didn't they have like 98% of contracts going through Booz Allen? Let me know the ticker on that if you got it, dude. Very interested on that. That's a very interesting thought process. I like where you're headed there. Definitely fun. That could be a good time. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, what's the tickers on them? If you guys look them up, we can take a look at a chart here too, because that does sound interesting. Let's see here. Bitwise CIO says Bitcoin should be at 200,000 today, and says, I think the number of companies buying Bitcoin is going to triple this year. I think game theory is on. This guy is brilliant. I love Matt. I'm going to listen to him real quick. It's only 1:42.
There has been so much fundamentally positive news, and it's just been buried sort of in the background. We've caused ourselves to ignore it. There's the strategic Bitcoin reserve. There's the SEC pulling back on essentially every lawsuit. There's progress on stablecoin legislation. There's talk of market structure legislation. There was the White House crypto summit. These are game-changing positive developments that should put Bitcoin trading at $150,000 or $200,000 today. It's been suppressed because in the short term, this overhang of the economic uncertainty is weighing on the markets. I think if that is released, we're at new all-time highs quickly, and we're on our way to where I think we'll be at the end of the year, which is Bitcoin 200,000. So I think there's been this sort of suppression of really good news. If that suppression is removed, I think it's a coiled spring. So in that scenario,
I agree.
I think we do exceptionally well.
Is there anything else that needs to happen to get us to Bitcoin at 200K by the end of the year?
I don't think so. You have these three horsemen of insatiable demand for Bitcoin. You have ETFs, which I continue to think will have strong net flows this year. You have companies. We saw MicroStrategy buying more Bitcoin. I think the number of companies buying Bitcoin is going to triple.
All right. Yeah, I agree with all that. So I just looked up Booz Allen. I think we're a little late, guys. So if you look here, people thought about that real quickly. The smart money thought about exactly what you're thinking about. And it's good that you're thinking about it. But yeah, this thing was at 190 in November, and then it's dropped all the way down to 102. So it's already lost 50%. Now, could it go further? Yeah, maybe. I don't know how tied it is with their earnings and how devastating it would be and what kind of contract loss they would have. They're a dividend payer. But yeah, it looks like we're not the first ones to think about this. Now, if the company's going bankrupt, there's probably still a lot of money to make there. But I don't know if that's the case. I don't know this company well enough or that sector to be able to pretend like it would do really well. I just don't know. But it is fascinating, though. It is an interesting look, isn't it? But yeah, we'll have to have those ideas quicker. We'll have to have them quicker. But I like where your head was thinking, though. It's very smart to look that way. So yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff. And another guy, Arthur Hayes. Let's listen to him real quickly.
We had a great run from 20,000 to 110 on Bitcoin, essentially, FTX lows until, Trump coin. And
TLT is now 1.11%. Amazing.
Now we're having a 30% correction. It's pretty normal for a bull market. So I think, yes, people might have had a little bit too much leverage. Maybe they bought too many shit coins. But I think we're going to clear out all that dead wood, and I still believe that we could be 250,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. Does that mean that the particular shitcoin you own is going to be 100x higher? Probably not, because people are getting a little bit more discerning in the type of things that they own.
I agree with that.
But at least from Bitcoin perspective and the overall market capitalization of crypto, I think we're going to be much higher by the end of the year than we are today.
I agree. 250,000. My low target is still 180, guys. And I should actually let's talk about predictions here, because I did make some. And then And again, I'm probably not sticking around too long today, guys. Quad witching on Friday. Thank you, Arcadian, for responding back and kind of saying what you were thinking. I wasn't even in that headspace, actually. But quad witching sounds interesting. Is it still quad witching or is it triple witching? I can't even remember. Whatever. I haven't even looked to see what the options contracts look like for expiration for this witching. So I don't even know what that looks like. But my guess is it's very, very bearish. That's my guess from what I've seen just with put call ratios and stuff like that, is that it's very, very bearish. And if anything, we're looking at a face ripping rally to the upside. What are your thoughts though, man? Tell me. All right, real quickly here, I wanted to cover a few things. So Tesla, again, I just posted this. I said Tesla has a magnet pulling it towards $320 where the volume profiles are almost non-existent. So right over here, or right around the 0.5 fib on the retracement, based upon the bottom being over here where it was like at 150 in 2024. Now, again, the reason I draw this too is because I think this volume, like we're right here. We want to get it back above the 200. Once we do that, all of the major volume is underneath of us for Tesla's history. All of it, okay? All of it. And we were already there last week. I think there's possibility that we get a face-ripping rally today. It doesn't have to happen, but I think it's possible. If we get back above the 200 weekly moving average and above peak volumes for all of Tesla, and we've got this magnet trying to draw us up to the 320, 330 range, I think you're going to see a lot of people getting really fucked. And you're going to see this thing scream higher. You got to remember, this is one of the most precipitous drops it's had in history. If you look at it based on timing, it is much worse than what happened back in 2022 based on timing. Because again, just here to here, this is just straight down. At least you got weeks of breaks back then. It's been all red. So this thing's coiled like a fucking spring. And so everybody that's looking for lower prices on Tesla, you can get them. You can get them. Don't get me wrong. It can happen. We could have further dropping today. I'll be on the road when it's happening. If it does, though, I might buy more and I might get specific contracts because I just think there's a huge opportunity for anybody who has foresight and is looking out further. So I like this. And again, I said it's a blessing if it can get down to the 185s. If it did this by some crazy reason, I would buy the shit out of that dip. I don't think it's going to happen, though. And I do still think that we have on the weekly time frame, going back to, what is it? The beginning of 2023, we've got some divergence to the upside. We started to break underneath of it, but I think that could flip if this thing starts going up a little bit today. I also wanted to speak to the Russell because, again, TLT is doing really good today, up 1%, and we're seeing the 10-year down 1.5% at 4.18%. That is fucking insane. That is a huge drop. The 2 years at 3.93%. The Fed is going to end up lowering rates. But the reason I'm saying this is I don't think it's crazy to look at the Russell, the small cap index, and say that it could have a face-ripping rally. And whether you look at this as a cup and handle or whether you look at it as an inverse head and shoulders, I do not give two shits. It is the same thing. The measured move is still exactly where I put it. So could we go up a shit ton on the Russell? 80% move? Yes, I think so. And again, just look at history here. It tells us that's very possible. Okay, it tells us that's possible. And this thing has been compressed for the longest time frame, going back here to like 2010 range. This thing, again, we had sideways chop, but this is much longer and deeper than anything we saw back then. And again, I think some people I guess they liked it. It's got 2,000 likes on it. But I just wanted to illustrate here from the bottom of this other profile up to the top. And this, when you look at this in a number of ways, it's always the same. And again, this could be a shoulder, the head. Then it could have a little bit of a shoulder to catch this volume over here. And then it could go up. And so it doesn't matter. Essentially, it gets us roughly to the same place over the next fib at the 149, 150 range to establish support above that level. And I think that's what Bitcoin's going to do. And so an 80% move in Bitcoin would be fucking insane. And I don't think people are mentally prepared for that. They're prepared for the worst. I don't think they're preparing for this over the next, between now and let's say June, July. I don't think they're prepared for a face-ripping rally, maybe even into August. I don't think they're prepared for that. And this could be nothing compared to what actually ends up happening. I think people they get dismayed and they forget just how crazy these numbers can look. And they're going to figure that out. Partnerships or incentives, whatever. I've already did that one. That one's kind of old. All right, heavy on the put side. So Friday will release a lot of bearish pull towards the downside and cause a rally on Monday. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If there's heavy on the put side, then the most painful trade would be for this thing to go up, right? LW Crypto, new tech companies like Anduril, Shield, and others for future DoD contracts will be the winners of tightening by the government. What companies do others see as the future? They're right at the top of the list. It's hard to know. There's like another one. It's not Red. Is it Red Hat? I don't remember. There's another one that's like a defense sector drone company. I don't know the sector well enough even now. I talked about like looking at it, and I still have not done that, at least in depth. Red Cat, thank you. Now, yeah, Red Hat's like Linux, right? Thank you, Martin. But yeah, so I still haven't done a thorough enough research to really be able to speak intelligently to it. I do think that the easy plays, though, are Palantir is going to do well with it, and then Anduril is going to do huge. I think they're a really small cap. I think, like, what is Anduril's market cap right now? Do we know? We got Palantir around $200 billion. Let me just look real quickly and see. We'll just pop over here and ask. It's in the private market, but I'm just curious if we have a rough data point. John Frank, thanks for the $5. I keep thinking of Bitcoin ends year over year, 150 to 250 range. Are IBIT leaps the best play? I haven't been using IBIT leaps. I'm using MSTX and MSTU for the short term, and then I've got calls that can give you better returns, I think, with the miners. But again, there is risk there, so it's hard to know for sure. But IBIT, I mean, check out the calls that are out there and see if they're worth it. So it says 28. Anduril's valuation was reported at $28 billion following a funding round in February of 2025. So very recently they were at $28 billion. I think this company can 5x in a couple of years easily. So I think Anduril is probably like one of your best bets, but again, they're still in private market. MSTR is holding the breakout so far. Yeah, it's only down 0.27% in pre-market. Let's look at that chart real quick here. I'm not going to do too much more today, guys, because I got a lot going on. I want to take a shower. I got to hit the road a little bit later. My nephew is probably biting at the bit to get his new Model 3. But let's just look here. So again, we looked at this chart and said, hey, this thing's going to break out. And I said I might sell a little bit when we get to the 320, 330 range. I'm probably still going to do that. I'll sell a little bit more just to pull in a little more cash and maybe devote that towards Tesla calls. I'm not sure. I've got TSLL. I should have about 190,000 to 200,000 of that today. But I might buy strategic calls too. And I'll try and post about it. But I'm going to be on the road, so it might be a little weird. Huge swings. Oh, RCAT is down 50% over the last few months. It had a mega run, though, so that's not too surprising. So the question is it a real good business that's going to get... I don't know that. I don't know it well enough, and so it's really hard to understand whether or not that's true. Let me clean this up. But I do think, again, MicroStrategy, I think MicroStrategy can go up 200% between like now and July or August. So 200% on this is probably... I don't know, 350, 400 at least on MSTU and MSTX, depending upon the path it takes and how long it takes to get there. So I think you can get a 400% return pretty quickly in MSTX and MSTU, and that for me that would be a lot of money because I have over $1 million between the two. I have like 1.1 or something, 1.2 maybe. So that would be a pretty big gain and put me well above record highs again. Closer above the 7 million mark, closer to 8, just with this one position. And my Mara and my Clean Spark can pull in millions, and my ArcG can pull in millions and millions, depending upon how high they go. And then Tesla too, if I get enough in there, that could pull $1 million, $2 million. So I'm looking again. I think 10 million is going to be really easy this year. I'm hoping for 20. We'll see what happens. Enjoy the new Model 3. Which one did you get or end up getting? I just got the all-wheel drive version of it. I got him with the referral bonus credits that I have. I got him the roof rack, and then I got him like the mats, and I got him some like a storage thing for inside of it, and I got him a thing to put his phone in it. And so like he's pretty pimped for a 20-year-old that just got off of house arrest. Mike, per Grok, Donald Trump is scheduled to speak at the meeting. Yeah, 9:40 today, Central Time. So that's awesome. That's very exciting. I think that if that's really positive news, it's going to be with Michael Saylor. So what the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that really mean? Honestly, that's fascinating. He's going to be talking with Michael Saylor about Bitcoin. That's got to be good. That doesn't seem like a sell the news event. This thing just came up. There's been no time to sell the news. You know what I mean? Wow, there's a 4x4 Tesla link. I don't think that's real. If that's is this a new thing that you guys are talking about? I don't think that's real. Let me see here. Let me see if there's any real Tesla announcements. Give me a second. Vandalism. Yeah, not surprising. What was happening? Jimmy Kimmel propagandizes the liberal. Oh, yeah. Never mind. That's Tesla, too. Just a bunch of fucking idiots. This kid fucked his life. This guy was a financial advisor. And now he's got criminal mischief of putting a swastika. And honestly, the Department of Justice might go after him. A swastika sounds like a hate crime, right? So Brandon Velez, financial systems underwriter, was arrested for keying a Tesla in Fort Collins. The guy will probably lose his job, and he could end up in prison. Because, again, it's like vandalizing a car is one thing. You draw a swastika on it, I feel like it's going in a different place. What price does BTC need to get above to really kick off the next leg up? I mean, it's there, right? We're closing. Let me pull this over real quick. It's there. It's already there. It just needs to maintain this. So we're getting ready to have our close above the 200 moving average on the weekly or the daily time frame. It's a decisive close. If we have anything good come out of this summit, we're probably running very quickly to the 90,000s, and then we'll hit the .618 fib. And so maybe we hit that and we consolidate a little bit into this downward trend line. And let me just draw this out here because this is a real thing that I should probably represent. So again, we've had this downward trend line that was very steep and very strong, and we couldn't break above it. And so since we couldn't break above it, we broke below it. But this almost looks like a W bottom forming, guys. It looks like this, right? Like a double bottom, a W bottom. That's what it looks like to me. Did the 350 mil? He closed his position, his short position, and then he went long. I don't know if he's still long. Does chat know that at all? You guys tell me. Did that guy still go long? I haven't really been paying attention to him. I've been very busy. What? Sequoia Capital's doing what? Let me see this here. Sequoia Capital. The world's largest VC firm, Sequoia Capital, steps in and backs Elon Musk in his Delaware battle. Ooh, Sequoia Capital's jumping in too. Sweet. I love it. Intel stock drops as takeover of Foundry looks less likely. Not surprised. Again, Intel's just been a huge disappointment. I'll wait for anything good to happen. Police swarm Corwell Health, Beaumont, Troy after shooting, gunman at large, one victim injured. Were they driving a Tesla? Jesse, I missed the last few days. Did you talk about? Yeah. So no, that's not me. That's is it Josh Homan or not Homan? Horman? I can't remember. There's so many names that have been coming across my feed as of late. There's the guy who predicted the 84 bottom like perfectly. He's a Salmon Brothers guy, and he's the guy I think too that predicted. Let me see. Yeah, Josh Mann, not Homan. Mann. He's the guy too that predicted the 444. So. And actually, that lines up with a lot of stuff. So I think my low target has been for a long time around the 170 to 180,000 range. No, it's Josh Mann, isn't it? It's this guy, isn't it? It's this guy. Salmon Brothers, 1990 to 98, bond portfolio analysis, government desk, long bond trader, derivatives, short dated options, Caxton Associate Hedge Fund. Isn't this the guy? You're like, this is the guy. Yes. Is Mandel? Oh, okay. All right, cool. Yeah, so, I got you. He just goes by man on here. All right, thanks, dude. But yeah, so he's been kind of brilliant, and again, this guy has a lot of time and practice in the space. So he's been saying that the 444 target, and again, my minimum targets, guys. I'll just go back over here. My minimum target has not changed. It is, so if we just go over here, I'll go to the weekly. It's probably easier to see. Well, not in that condition. So right down here, we've got this trade range, right? And it goes back a long ways. Third halving, fourth halving. So again, this one acted as resistance up here. I actually think in the last halving, we probably would have went up higher. So when I draw this line, I'm looking at it at a pessimistic level, but I think we could have got to 100,000. So I think this would have actually went a little bit steeper. And maybe the cycle would have lasted a little bit longer, but it didn't. It ended up just getting crushed because of the Fed. But I actually think we could have gotten like to 92 or 100, right, at least to that. And then, but we didn't. So I'm drawing this line actually lower to and not representing what I think it would have been at, and instead representing it lower, which is slightly lower than this upward trend line, which is held going all the way back to, let's look here, July of 2017. So touch point, and this is on the weekly, touch point, went underneath of it, but immediately wicked back up on the weeklies, and all the candle bodies were above it. The wicks were beneath. Touch point. And so that's been really consistent. And then we also have this channel up here. So my minimum has always been the same, and it is around the 270, or I should say this, what I saw as the max was 270, 280, and my minimum was around the 175 to 180 range. That's what I've been shooting for. So I think the 170 to 180 is like the bare fucking minimum. I think we haven't even started the parabola yet. The parabola looks like this. The parabola looks like this. And again, it can weaken, but we haven't even started it. We haven't even started the parabola. So when I say 20 million, like I'm trying to be conservative on that too for my goal for the end of this year. 20 million is my conservative goal. So I really believe strongly that this is going to do well. Oh, yeah, this Giovanni guy, this Bitcoin power law guy, he blocked him because he's just a fucking idiot. Let's see here. He also said MicroStrategy would be a greater than 800 in the last half of March. It's not there yet. So, I mean, he missed that one. But again, it's easier to get the underlying asset right. It's another level of magnitude harder to get this right, to get the multiplier. It's harder, and then when you have the multiplier on top of the multiplier, it's harder. But because this one has a lot of other dynamics in play. I will say this though, MicroStrategy is breaking out pretty hard right now. Like this is good. This is what we want. And if we get above the 340 range, it's like game on. Because from 340, it's real quick to 392, and then it's real quick to 540, real quick. But yeah, I don't think. Did he say 800 by March of this March? Yeah, that's not happening. That will not end up happening. I think MicroStrategy. I think MicroStrategy can get into the thousands. But I think bare minimum, we're going to get up around 850. Again, it's operating at a premium. I think the multiplier right now on NAV is like 1.6, 1.7. I do expect that to diminish as the cycle pushes on. I expect the NAV to drop. So there's going to be some counter forces working against each other. But I think it can go a lot higher. I think it could get into the thousands. It might do something crazy and get into the 1500s. I think that's possible. All right. He just rolled over 300 and 330 calls he bought last Friday, expiring 321. Is this Josh that you're talking about? Christopher Campbell, I bought heavily on Tuesday. Personal opinion, feels like a bull trap into April 2nd. Then weak hands will shake out one more time. I don't know why that has to happen. It could. I don't know why it has to. I look at the 10-day rule, right? I look at within Bitcoin, it's like 10 days out of the year are 90% of the gains. So if I'm going to err on any side, it's going to be on the side of caution on making sure that I'm holding Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related investments, because I don't want to pretend like I'm smart enough to not fuck up the other 355 days, right? So it's like, oh, hey, I'm going to master this. I mean, what is the percentage of that? 10 days out of 365. Can somebody do the math on that real quick? It's not really good odds of being right based on time. Christina, Jesse, can you explain what a rolling call over? It means selling the ones that you have and buying ones that are further out. I don't ever do that. My calls, when I place a bet, it's the bet that I'm going to take. I might sell some. Sometimes and then buy ones that are further out. But a lot of the times I let the old ones die, and if they come back, they come back, and if they don't, they don't. And then I place my bets further out. Because again, these are asymmetric bets. If I lose 50% to gain 1,000, I'm still up 500%, right? Kamawa, how do you intend to DCA your crypto profits into your core positions? Slowly and then all at once. And I'll be telling you guys the whole time. LW crypto, 444,000. What is the match price for? Oh, I mean, it really depends, right? For MicroStrategy, it really depends. So we can look at that though. I mean, we can get some gauge, but then it depends on the NAV a lot. And again, the NAV could diminish as the cycle goes on because people realize that, guys, I'm getting a little too greedy here. This thing's got a 2x premium. But let's look. Here's what it would be. So it's not going negative on the premium during the bull market. We know that much, right? So let's see here what we have for some of these prices. So this is linear regression, and then the second order goes down. But, and again, it's not going to go negative. I just think that would be stupid. Not on the way up. Maybe at the very ass end of it. But they have, if linear regression works, they have the premium at 6.4. I don't think that's likely. I don't think that's likely at all. I think this bottom one is more likely. What is that? 1.86. Like maybe something like that would be likely. Oh, I'm sorry. That is the, let's look here. So this has a stupid price, BTC price. I'm trying to see it, but this other thing is like, yeah, okay, good. All right, so this has it, if there's a premium of 1.8, it has it at 1560. I think that's high, though. I think the premium would diminish. Maybe it's 1.3 by that time. Maybe it's 1.4. So I think above 1,000. I think above 1,000 makes a lot of sense. And that will probably happen really quickly, and then you'll have like diminishing results from it. And then it won't be the primary play. And then it'll be onto the miners. That's the way it usually works. It'll be MicroStrategy first because it's the largest container, and then it will drop down into Mara because that's the second largest, and then it'll be smaller miners that people look at, and maybe not all of them benefit, but people dial down the risk curve. And so I think that's probably what would end up happening, honestly. And it looks like the market, I don't know, the market's just kind of meandering. It looks like Tesla's dropping a little bit more. Maybe we get a lower price on Tesla today. I don't care. I'm still buying into it. I think that the data that we got was really good. And again, if we continue to drop, guys, let's just remember this. We got a Fed put for sure. We got tariffs that are going to start. We're going to start hearing positive news between now and April 2nd because there are going to be countries that make agreements with us. We're also going to hear more about more corporations that are looking to spend more money in the United States. XRP, why does it suck? I don't know. It has a CEO. They dilute constantly on XRP, and they use that to fund their business because I don't think their business model would even be profitable without it. And then they're also a company too, so they can issue shares on the company stock, and then they just use you crypto guys as suckers to give them a bunch of money. They also worked really hard to hurt Bitcoin's chance of being in a strategic reserve. They hate Bitcoin. And show no love towards it whatsoever. And they want to be the CBDC for the world. They want to be a central bank digital currency that allows the government to be able to control and monitor your actions and what you're doing with your spending. If you like government control, if you hate Bitcoin, XRP is a great option. You should totally love XRP. So if you love governments and want them to control you more, if you like the idea of a CEO just literally printing more of this stuff out of thin air, if you love that concept, like you like the dollar being printed a bunch, and you hate Bitcoin and you hate the ability to be able to self-govern and not have the government stealing from you or directing what you can do with the purchasing of your money, then I think XRP is a great option. Like if you hate all the core values of Bitcoin, then XRP is wonderful and you should support it. And there are people that believe that, right? There's a large number of the XRP community that think Bitcoin is shit and that XRP is the savior. So if you're one of those people, then invest in it. It's a great way to lose money. XRP is a great way to lose money. Consistently, just not even coming remotely close to performing what Bitcoin does. Let's look at it real quick here. Let's see how amazing XRP has done over the years. Let's just look here. This is a great example of the 98% over 2 cycles that never keep up with Bitcoin or Bitcoin again. So this everybody's round tripped. So the peak of this company, which you still haven't reached, was in 2017. So 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, these people have made shit. Zero. Nothing. Brad Garlinghouse has fucked you for that many years. You've made nothing off of this money. All these people that pitch this shit are bag holders. They're all bag holders. And you know what's going to happen here again? The same shit that happened over here. The same shit that happened over here. You're going to lose a bunch of fucking money. It's going to go down to under $1 and probably down here, down to the 30-cent range again. And you're not going to make dick. And what has Bitcoin done since 2017? How much money have people made since the top of 2017? Let's just take a look here. So even where we are right now, the shitty where we are right now, in between cycles, you've made 333%. So one of them has made dick. The other one's made 333%. And from its recent top here, Bitcoin made you 465%. So zero, 465%. Or 460%. I think I know which one I like. And again, I'm telling you that I think that this thing, at a minimum, will top up 800% higher than it was in 2017. And at the more max level for me, where I would be probably 100% out, would be the 250 to 280 range. That would be 1,200 to 1,300% gains from the top of 2017 to now. And XRP will still probably be like 0 or 100%. And if you're real lucky, 200%. And then it'll go back down into the depths of hell again. So if you're wondering my position on XRP, that's what it is. Not super fond of it. But I know people are talking about it. I don't know why. I don't know how. It's probably a bunch of first timers or people that just are stupid. Because if you've been in this for multiple cycles, I owned this shit in 2017. Okay? And it's totally a noob thing to do to own XRP. But if you think it's better than Bitcoin, you're just borderline retarded. That's my take on it. Yeah, and Garlinghouse has made his fair share of money. I mean, right? That's the only reason why Donald Trump was even looking at this bullshit. It's just because he was getting paid to. But he didn't scream putting it into a reserve, right? Anyway, so that's my take on XRP. And the XRP army loves me. They think I'm really great. They told me that a bunch of times the other day. River, another interesting post Josh made was about multiple MSTR trades for against BTC because that is the cost for another business to take the position in BTC. So the more BTC MSTR owns. I'm not quite sure what you're saying there. I'll have to go back and look at what Josh said. I know there's been some more recent videos. I'm going to get caught up. This is one of the things I love about my road trips to go pick up new Teslas, because this will be my third one this month, is that I get to listen to a bunch of YouTube videos and get caught up on stuff, which is fun. Like deeper, longer term thought, brilliant people. And I love that. All right, so I'm probably going to buy 25,000 in Tesla out of the gate, guys. I don't think I'm going to stick around for open because, again, I got shit to do. I got to take a shower. I got to go. So I'm probably going to call it right here, just shitting on XRP, and I'm probably going to move forward. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope the open goes well. If things drop today, just remember that we had a really good day yesterday. Remember that the Fed's really positive. Remember that the stuff that's happening with Trump and Elon, they're doing great things. Okay, don't get caught up in short-term noise. They're doing great things. Don't worry, I'll have a safe trip. I got autopilot, and I'm driving a Cybertruck, so I'm pretty good. But they're doing great things. The real signal is that our country is getting better. Our economy is getting better. Any short-term pain can be dealt with. It can be dealt with things like TLT over the short term because rates are going to be coming down. I think this is going to end up being a great play. I can't wait to see it break out. If I make $1 million off of this in the next month or two, I'm just going to use that to buy more of my favorite shit, okay? And I'm going to look long term, and I'm probably going to be looking at calls. I'm probably done buying TSLL. I'm probably going to be looking at calls. So after I'm going to be up at about 190,000 in TSLL today, and then I'm going to be looking at buying calls instead and trying to capitalize off of those. Anyway, love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And again, remember what we're doing for this world and for the United States. Favorite shit being Lambo, right? I'm probably not getting a Lambo. I'm probably just going to wait for the Roadster, honestly. I can be patient, and it's just going to be such a better car, and it'll be at like a third of the price at the Lamborghini Revolto that I was looking at, and like half the price of the other Lamborghini Huracan I was looking at. So why get one of those when you can get a Tesla Roadster that can blow the doors off of those and drive you around town? It just doesn't, like, I got to be patient. I'm not going to be buying. Plus, I want my house with the pool. That's my biggest priority right now, is giving my wife a huge place to garden and to enjoy life. And the car is way secondary to that. So anyway, I love you guys. I will talk to you later. I hope you guys make money, if nothing else, off of TLT today, and then do some dip buying, understanding that Bitcoin's going to do well this year and that Tesla's going to do well for years, and that there's a lot of money that's going to be made. I love you.